Hey Annika and John, this is your first video feedback to your journal entry. I just read it and I want to make a few comments. This time around, I'd like to focus on two aspects of your writing, and that's first of all, factualness. So, in other words, is what you write, however you write it, is that actually true? And secondly, how the structure of your paragraph. I like the overall attempt you make at the structure of the paragraph, although I think it could be improved by not jumping around in thought so much. And that's actually connected to the first focus point, which is the factualness of the writing. And there are a number of problems here. Let me show you. So you begin by saying empfindsam and galant are two styles that existed in the Baroque period and represented the older and newer styles of musical composition of the time. Well, that's actually not true. Because remember, we introduced empfindsam and galant as compositional styles post-Baroque in that transitional phase between the Baroque and the classical period. Okay. Also, remember, I told you that one of the problems with the term Baroque is that it's actually very long, meaning it basically starts around 1600 and ends with officially with Bach's death, if you want. So it's 150 years. And when you say empfindsam and galant existed in the Baroque period, that would actually mean that empfindsam and galant existed in 1610, which is absolutely not true. Empfindsam and galant really only occurred in the mid 18th century. Okay. Then you go on to say C.P. Bach, for example, wrote in. Also, by the way, they do not represent the older and newer styles of musical composition of any period, really, but they're actually simultaneous styles that, it's just like, I don't know, Lady Gaga and the music of any reggaetonero that you can think of. So, and you can't say, well, the one is the older and the one is the newer. It's two styles of music that existed at the same time after the Baroque period. So you go on to say C.P. Bach, for example, wrote in what historians today explain as empfindsam and galant. Exactly, that is true, but C.P. Bach is not a Baroque composer. And then you go and say, when we analyze J.S. Bach's writing of the blah 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 fugues, we can see that his writing has examples of these two concepts before they were actually recognized. That's just not true. The fugues in particular don't really show any empfindsam or galant, because empfindsam and galant mainly means no fugues and no contrapuntalness. Okay, I hope. I don't know when you wrote this, and maybe the last Q&A has clarified some of this, but for sure there's this problem of factualness that a whole bunch of things that you're writing here are just not true. The other thing that I want to point out in terms of paragraph structure is that you jump around in thoughts quite a bit. No, you wrote this topic sentence that makes me as a reader expect that you talk about empfindsam and galant as the styles in a certain period of time, and yet the second sentence goes on to talk about C.P.E. Bach. So when you narrowly define the topic of the paragraph as empfindsam and galant styles, I'm now expecting that you actually tell me something about the attributes and the characteristics of these styles, and not go on to say something about one person, and then in the next sentence already saying something about the next person. So it would It would make more sense, for example, if you cut this part entirely and said, there are styles of musical composition of the time. Empfindsam is derived from the German word for sensitive, the musical characteristics, blah, blah, blah. I hope this makes sense, because then this would be identified as just jumping around in thoughts, whereas when you start talking about the styles, it would make more sense that you then go on to discuss in more detail what these styles are about. So basically stick with the topic that you identified in the topic sentence. I think that's enough for today's exercise. So first of all, make sure your content is factually correct. And second of all, watch out for jumping around in thoughts, and make your chain of thoughts more coherent, in that what you define in your topic sentence is indeed the topic of the paragraph. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I see you soon. Bye.